it seems extraordinary. Tell me, how does it feel sitting and watching your very own aircraft do that?
Well, I must admit, I have a rather sort of possessive feeling about the aircraft, but it's lovely that we could actually take off from that end of the runway. So everybody heard the howl, and the was right in our faces as she took off. And then that little bit of a gentle roll to the right to turn away before coming in. She's now turning around to the right, and we're coming back on a different manoeuvre than one we've practiced in previous years. Coming in on what we call the B-axis, coming straight towards the crowd centre, and then we'll be pulling up again into another turn round to the right, so it's been flown from Kev in the right-hand seat, and so you should see her going up straight in front of the crowd, so you'll see the underside of the aircraft, before pulling into a rather gentle wing over this next time probably, to position for the next manoeuvre.
The extent to which the Vulcan, like the Spitfire, is loved and renowned by the British public is not in doubt, but another similarity between them, the fact that their designers, respectively R.J. Mitchell for the Spitfire and Roy Chadwick of Avro for the Vulcan, never got to see their creations achieving their greatest fame.
No, Roy Chadwick in particular dying well before it got airborne. R.J. Mitchell saw a little bit of the early development, but nonetheless tragic. And what is amazing, we were talking about the speed of development in the 40s and 50s. Just 11 years after Lancaster, Roy Chadwick's creation in the Vulcan took to the skies. Absolutely extraordinary.
You mentioned a gentle wing over.
Yes, well, maybe I exaggerated a little bit. No, she's now manoeuvring outside. That first manoeuvre we did, we still haven't practiced it many times, and therefore he's playing very safe in his pulling up to say well clear the crowd line. With a bit more practice, maybe we'll be getting a bit closer. They're now moving out round to the right and then coming back for the well-known Bombay turn.
And in that Bombay, Martin, would be carried how many stores?
Well, the aircraft was designed, as you've just been hearing, it was designed as a nuclear bomber, Britain's nuclear deterrent, and the 3 V bombers all were planned to carry one huge great atomic bomb, and therefore had a big bomb nearly 25 feet long, but equally it could carry, the Vulcan could carry 21 1,000-pound bombs, conventional bombs. Okay, so it comes around now, and as she turns around to the left, you should see the bomb doors opening.
And no doubt as the aircraft powers away, you'll both see and feel and hear the power of the 4 Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 201 engines.
16,400 pounds of thrust in each one of them. That is massive, and here it comes now. That's a wonderful howl.
We've seen something in this display of the aircraft's agility, haven't we, Martin? I mean, most famously demonstrated by Rolly Falk, rolling one of the early Vulcans at the 1955 Farnborough show.
Oh yes, I mean you could see from the way Kev was flying it there, the rate of roll, even at low speeds, is quite considerable. And the aircraft was actually designed to be able to roll. It was considered to be, could do a roll off the top manoeuvre by tossing bombs forward, and then to escape the enemy would go over into a half loop. The Victor also was capable of doing a roll off the top. You've seen photographs of it. So it's very manoeuvrable. Rolly Falk did it. Nobody has officially done it ever since, but I can assure you it would be very easy to barrel on.
Yes, sitting in the cockpit, it doesn't feel like a huge aircraft at all, does it? It actually feels like a much smaller aircraft, and as you say, agile and fighter-like. It's quite a magnificent aircraft.
The aircraft was designed, that large wing, the huge controls that it's got, the powerful engines, were designed because the aircraft was meant to fly at high level, 50 to 60,000 feet, back in the early 50s, when even pressurization in an aircraft was entirely new. It's got a very small cockpit because of the problem of pressurizing at that sort of level, and nearly all metal roof as well, which makes it a little bit difficult from a display pilot's point of view to see outside. You certainly can't see anything across the cockpit, more like an airline. But I say it was big, powerful, big wing, manoeuvrable, because it could outmaneuver every fighter aircraft of the era, equivalent to something like a starfighter, which had a wing about the size of the tailplane of the Vulcan. It was very, very good in a straight line, but the Vulcan, all it had to do with its sort of coming was to slow down and turn, and the starfighter would go straight on, as would the sort of heat-seeking missiles. So above 50,000 feet, it was considered invincible. The surface-to-air missiles couldn't shoot it down, and it was only after Gary Powers was shot down in a U-2 in the mid-60s that they realised, that the U-2 being the Soviet surface-to-air missile, we realised that the Vulcan now could possibly be shot down by the Russians.
What a sight it was during the Cold War when rows of Vulcans would be arrayed at bases, such as this here at Waddington, Martin, on QRA, with reaction alert duty.
Yeah, well, up until the late 60s, when the V-Force was the primary nuclear deterrent force, that we had our only nuclear deterrent force, before the Navy took over the Polaris submarine and Polaris missiles. Vulcans would be detached to different airfields around the country in any sort of alert phase, and there would be, say, 4 aircraft at each airfield sitting on the end of the runway on the operational platform, and crews could get airborne in a Vulcan. You get 4 aircraft off in as little as 2 minutes.
There's some great new additions to the display this year, Martin. I'm impressed with the different variations that the crew are putting in here today.
Yeah, and I have to confess, it was all the combined ideas of, primarily Bill Ramsey, who's the ex-tutor display pilot and had a lot of display experience, and worked up with Kev, who's flying it today, to add to the show. It's basically variations on a theme, but just with different emphasis. And now he's coming back, got the gear down, let him down for a low pass before pulling round to go downwind and land.
It was testament to the effectiveness of the nuclear deterrent of which the Vulcan formed part for so long that the type never dropped bombs in anger until the Falklands in '82.
Yeah, the big success of the whole V-Force and of the whole principle of the deterrent regime, where either the USSR or NATO and the other Western countries could obliterate one another if one should attack, meant that, very fortunately, overall all-out nuclear war never took place. And for that, this is what the V-Force deserves recognition. The little bit we did right at the bitter end is what people remember now, but really the Vulcan should be remembered for what it did during the Cold War, which luckily remained cold.
And that, of course, is why it's so important that Vulcan to the Sky has had this aircraft in flying condition now since near the tail end of 2007, and a remarkable story that is in its own right.
Yes, again, it's not just teamwork on operations, but the considerable teamwork that has gone into maintaining this aircraft in flying condition. And so an apt moment to mention Operation 2015, which is all about keeping this aircraft going for another couple of years. You can learn a lot more of it by going down to the Star Trust marquee. And of course, his continuing contributions to this amazing team led by Robert Fleming, his inspiration and hard work, which will keep this aircraft alive.
Entirely funded by a mixture of public donations and the very considerable support of numerous corporate sponsors who've given so generously to keep the Vulcan flying, because keeping any aircraft flying is an expensive business, but especially a big 4-engine jet such as this one.
Yes, this has already cost 10 million of your own well-earned pounds so far, and we need obviously several million more to keep it going. Now, as a result of extensive research with Cranfield Aerospace, and I know work is going to start on the leading edges, which is one of the key components that need rectifying to keep it going. The engines, I'm told, will be extended for another couple of years, which is great, but I gather that once that's over, that's it on the engines. Is that correct?
Yes, we're absolutely delighted that at the beginning of this year we had to spread the message that you had to be prepared for the fact that 2013 could be the last time you see a Vulcan in the skies. Luckily now we've resolved the fact that the engines, we do have engines to keep us going for another couple of years with one spare in reserve in case something goes wrong. So we are going forward. We're trying to raise enough money to pay for this very expensive engineering work that needs to be done to the leading edges of the wing to keep it going until certainly the end of 2015. So we're Operation 2015 means that we are asking people to put their hands in their pockets again, but I hope you all think it'll be worthwhile. Having seen the Vulcan display here today, she is such a beautiful aeroplane, something worth preserving in the air, and so we certainly want you to please go on supporting it. Do come along to the Vulcan Village, which is the big tent on right up the far end of the runway when the aircraft's going to be turning off. The aircraft's there for you to see and to witness. You can walk around it. We're doing tours of the aircraft. We've got lots of interesting merchandise in the tent, and we do need your money, and we do need you all to look at the Vulcan to the Sky website.
Yes, you'll do that, and you can help contribute straight away. If you would like to make a donation from your mobile, just text VULC133, VULC133 to number 70070, and that will give a £3 donation to see this marvellous aeroplane stay in the sky. Please give the crew a wave. They can see you now. They've been working hard to entertain you. Well done indeed, Bill Ramsey and Kev Rubens. That's marvellous stuff indeed. Martin, it's been a real pleasure having you with us. A piece of living history, I dare say.
Well, it is. She's lovely. We feel very, very fortunate that we got her in the air. We're grateful to all the people who've supported it over the years, and we hope we'll go on supporting her. I'd say the two